Would you name some of the devices, some of the things that you use to play music? Trumpet. Guitar. Flute. Your phone. Okay, where's the keyboard on the phone? No. Phone, okay? How about some other electronic devices that you use to play music? Radio. Anybody using a cassette player? 8-track? Vinyl? A corner in our living room has a Victrola standing in it. You crank the thing up and you set the needle on. It's glorious. Not much for volume control unless you open the doors on it. Think of the kinds of things that you use to play music. Anybody still using a reel-to-reel tape recorder? There's all sorts of things that we use to play music, which allows us to take the music wherever we go. Now name some places where you listen to music, either because someone else has put the music there or because you have brought it with you. Where do you listen to music? In the car. At work. On the deck. Church. Anybody listen to music as they're running, as they're jogging? I was at the pool at Avera Fitness Center one day, and in the pool to swim laps, and here's a guy that crawls into the pool, pulls his rubber cap down tight around his ears, and I figured, well, he must have long hair, wants to keep it dry. And then beside his right ear, he tucked in a waterproof iPod and stuck the plug in his ear. And I thought, man, what does he swim to? Handel's water music? You know, to be able to set the cadence of your swimming with music, awesome. Name some places where we listen to music. Could be a motorcycle, could be golfing. It might be a distraction there, who knows? Or maybe some golfers need that distraction. The devices that we have allow us to take the music wherever we want. Music for the journey. Music for where we go. Music for what we are doing. Sometimes that music can be very, very comforting. And sometimes that music can be very challenging for us. Sometimes the music can be inspirational. And sometimes, like in an elevator, you kind of hope it either stops or just fades into the background. There's all sorts of different music that we use, that we are exposed to, and that we hear. There's even a whole matter of the psychology of music in shopping centers and stores that somehow or another tries to get us to slow down a bit and make a few more purchases. There's a subtlety to all of that. Psalm 121 is a song for the beginning of a journey. It's a song to be used as a trip begins, as a pilgrimage is started out. In Deuteronomy, there's reference, I think in Deuteronomy 16, there's a reference to the number of times someone should make a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. For the most part, 3 times. You know, the believer is to go to Jerusalem, you know, on these specific festivals, harvest festivals. It was frequent enough that it became a ritual. And in that ritual, then, we find this psalm. The pilgrim asks the question, I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. The first 2 verses of the psalm are spoken in the first person. It's I lift up my eyes. My help comes. And the rest of the psalm, someone is speaking to the individual about God. He will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. He who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is your keeper. The Lord is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will keep you from all evil. He will keep your life. The Lord will keep your going out and your coming in from this time on and forevermore. That psalm is a marvelous, marvelous blessing for the journeys on which we are going. The pilgrim asks the question, and the community of faith gives the blessing. That psalm calls on us to focus on God and His good news. It reminds us of God's presence with us each day, each event, each journey. And it's not limited to just the physical journey of walking and going someplace. It's equally appropriate for the mental journeys, the spiritual journeys, the emotional journeys, the psychological journeys and trips that we find ourselves on. This calls us to focus on God and His good news and the way in which He is our companion. He is our safeguard. The psalm reminds us also of the importance of the community of faith, the importance of all of you and all of the people of faith who surround you. Any one of us needs only remember a time when we have experienced a death in a family, a struggle, a loss of a job, the illness of a family member, a difficult surgery, a difficult illness, an accident. And we can remember ways in which people of faith came to and do come to surround us and lift us and at times carry us. That same thing happens in times of celebration. Think of family birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, confirmations, baptisms. There was a baptism here last night for Lincoln Haynes. There's a baptism at the second service today. Those families are celebrating, and the community of faith celebrates with them. The importance of the community of faith in our celebrations and in our journey is emphasized in this psalm. The psalm seems to be reflecting only the beginning of the journey, and yet it reminds us of who is with us throughout the entire journey. So now some questions for you this morning. Where are you going? What journeys are you on? What journeys are you on in life? We can approach that from a physical standpoint and say, all right, anybody going to the lake later today? Anybody headed to the pool? Anybody heading off to the golf course? Anybody going to see grandma? Anybody going to see kids? Anybody headed off to a family gathering? Anybody going to work? Anybody going shopping? From a physical standpoint, we can ask those questions, okay? Where are you going? What kind of journey are you on? No matter where you are going physically, guess who's going along? Guess who travels with you? God is there with you. No matter where you are, no matter what you are doing, God's presence is assured, and it has been since the day that you were baptized. As you were baptized, as I was baptized, the Spirit of God was given to us, and the promise from God saying, I am with you always. No matter where you go, no matter how far you wander, no matter what you do, I am with you, God says. But then let's also ask the question, where are you going? What journey are you on? Emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. What struggles are you having in your own daily life? The kinds of things that don't always show to the people around you, and yet God knows. What journeys are you on? What struggles are you enduring? Perhaps you are living confident and convinced and believing firmly that, yes, God is with me. He is here right with me. And because of that, this journey will be fine. I will be fine in this trip. I will be fine as I face this emotional and psychological hurdle. We can live in confidence because of our baptisms, that God is with us on all of those journeys in which we recognize a struggle. So perhaps you're here this morning very confident of God's presence with you in all that you endure, all that you face, and all that you celebrate. It's not just in moments of agony and difficulty that God is with us. He is with us also as we celebrate the presence of one another, as we celebrate a wedding, as we celebrate an anniversary, as we celebrate the joys and festivals in our lives. Or perhaps this morning, instead of being confident, maybe you're doubting. Maybe you're doubting. Maybe you're wondering, does God even know or care that I'm going through all of this? Does God even recognize the struggle that's in my mind and the knot that's in my stomach and the pain that's in my heart? Does God even recognize that? Perhaps you're less than confident and you're doubting, just as Thomas doubted, just as Thomas wondered, just as Thomas asked some questions. Is he even with me? Or does he even care? Or perhaps if you're not confident or not doubting, maybe you're just a little unsure of what lies ahead. How will all of this work out? How will this celebration work out? How will this joy work out? How will this fear and anger work out? How will this struggle work out? How will this conflict, how will this knot in my stomach work out? If you're unsure of what's ahead, by all means, rely on your community of faith. Rely on your brothers and sisters in faith who live, each of us with our own struggles, each of us with our own doubts, each of us with our own sense of confidence as well, but also with our own sense of insecurity and unsurety. Rely on your community of faith to hear about your dreams and your destinations. Rely on your community of faith to send you with a blessing and to go with you, if not physically, to go with you in prayer and to support you as you go. Rely on your community of faith to support and encourage you and remind you of God's promise. God's promise that He is always with you, no matter where you are, no matter how you celebrate, no matter what you fear, no matter what your pain. And then go. Go on your journey. Continue your walk. Continue your trip. Continue your pilgrimage, knowing who is with you and who it is that sends you off and who it is that's ready to welcome you back. 2 children baptized this weekend, both becoming members of this community of faith and the larger community of faith that we call the body of Christ around the world. Who knows what journeys those 2 children will enjoy and experience in their many years of life? Who knows the places they go, and who knows, to be honest, the music devices or the devices that they will use to play music? But may they always know the one who goes with them. the one who sends them off, and the one who walks with them as they go, and the one who welcomes them home.